Today, we're going to continue exploring some more cybersecurity roles. Today, we're going to be focused on the sector of cryptology. Not sure if you're too familiar with cryptology, but we're going to find out a little bit more about it. The roles under cryptology would be a cryptographer or a cryptologist. So that is our focus for today as we continue to find out more about these cybersecurity roles. Because, like I said last week, everyone wants to get into cybersecurity. They want to get in cybersecurity. Their mom wants to get in cybersecurity. Their dad wants to get in cybersecurity. Their grandma, their grandpa, maybe even their great grandparents want to get into cybersecurity as well. But nobody knows what it is. They just think that cybersecurity is the job when that is not actually the case. So we're going to break down one of these roles to see if this role might be right for you or if another role. So we're going to do some deep dives, some explorations into the role of a cryptographer or a cryptologist, deep diving into cybersecurity career paths, right? Welcome to another episode of Software Explorations, hosted by your shooty tech coach Ralph, where we are engineer twin. In today's episode, like I just said, we're going to be looking into cryptography. It's a very, very important and powerful area of cybersecurity that not many people are doing. So we're going to explore it, all right? Before we do that, do me a big favor. If you haven't done so already, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know every time that we go live and drop new content, as well as go to techcoachdrop.dev. Tons and tons of exclusive content. You can sign up for free. And you can get access to exclusive content, how to use AI, how to use LinkedIn effectively, how to use Glassdoor, how to update your resume, how to prepare for interviews. We can work on one-on-one, and I have one-on-one coaching opportunities as well. The spaces are limited, so sign up today before the new year because it is going to get crazy towards the new year. And if you're not on the boat at that point, you will get left behind. But with that being said, let's jump into our presentation on cryptography. All right, so like I said, our topic for today about cryptographers and cryptologists to find out more about this whole area of cryptography, which I honestly, if it wasn't for a cousin of mine who studied math in college and did a project, a master's project on cryptography, I would have not known about this role. So, and honestly, I forgot about it until researching some different cybersecurity roles. That's because I didn't even know it was associated with cybersecurity, right? So let's find out more to see if you would be a good fit for this. All right, so our agenda for today, we're going to have our introduction to cryptography. We're going to be looking at the role of a cryptographer / a cryptologist. We're going to see what are the required skills and qualifications to be a cryptographer or a cryptologist, how to get into cryptography, how to gain some practical experience, what are your expected salary, like what salary expectations that you have, what are the pros and the cons of cryptography, and then we're going to wrap it up with our conclusion as well as our Q&A where you can ask me questions, leave me feedback, and I will make sure to get back to you, okay? So let's get into it. So intro to cryptography. What the hell is cryptography? So it's like creating secret codes to protect information, ensuring only the right people can read it or use it. Why is this important? Why should anybody care? So cryptography keeps our data, like our passwords, messages, and bank transactions safe from hackers. So pretty much it's encryption, right? So when you hear about the security certificates and passing data through secure networks and stuff, that's all encrypted. It's been happening forever. So how does it work? It scrambles information, encryption when sending it, and then unscrambles it when decrypting it, right? So when it's received. So it decrypts it when it's receiving it. So basically, put it like this. I want to send you a message, but I don't want anybody else to read it, right? And now I can hope that people won't intercept it and stuff like that. But you know, in the times that we live in, you can't trust anybody. So I say, all right, you know what? I'm going to write it in a way that only when I write it, it's going to jumble it up, right? And then I'm going to send it to you. You're going to receive the jumbled up, but on your end, you have the quote unquote the unjumbler, the decryptor, so that you can actually do what I sent you. But everyone else who doesn't have the quote unquote the unjumbler, they won't be able to read what I sent you, right? So that's basically what the encryption and the decryption is doing. Let's continue. So let's have a quick role overview, right? So what do cryptographers slash cryptographers do? So the cryptographers design and break secret codes, ensuring sensitive information like financial data and or government secrets stay safe. So, and more than financial data, more than government secrets, we have healthcare data, we have login data, account information, all of that type of stuff, right? So where do these people work? So cryptographers, cryptographists, they work in areas like cybersecurity, of course, in the defense sector, finance, and tech to protect systems and data from hackers and cyber threats. If you remember the movie 24, you remember how like Chloe, for instance, would always be working to break codes and hack stuff and try to defend the network from attacks and all that crazy type of stuff. She was an example. Although she was quote unquote an analyst, she was definitely a cryptographer, right? So why do the cryptographers and the cryptologists matter? Their works, I'm telling you, they're doing the work of the Lord, right? So their work secures everything from online banking to national security, making the digital world safer for everyone. So when you hear about your favorite celebrity getting hacked, and they post something that they shouldn't be posting if they really did get hacked, right? Their maybe their password wasn't safe enough, or maybe the system that was hacked didn't have the right security measures in place. So they might have to get some high skilled cryptographers on their end. So we're going to be talking about the roles of the cryptographer slash cryptologist, right? And we're going to go into the core responsibilities as well as the common industries that they're part of, right? So let's jump into the core responsibilities. So what they do is they develop encryption algorithms to secure data, right? They ensure secure communication channels. So if you ever watch it, I go back to 24 because that's one of my favorite shows of all time. When Jack Bauer would get a call and says, you have a call from the president, and it would come in and he would have like, so that's on a secure line, or he would get a call from CTU, right? And it says, and he would ask, are we on a secure line, right? So secure communication channels, analyzing vulnerabilities in cryptographic protocols, collaborating with other cybersecurity professionals to integrate cryptography into security practices. So they're developing the algorithms and things like that, and they have to work with other professionals to see how can we implement what we have created into your system so let's say, I'll give you an example. Let's say the cryptographers or the cryptologists, they are working on a biometric authentication, algorithm. And now we have the hardware people who are working on the retina scanner, right, to scan your eyes. And now they have to work together. Okay, how can we put our algorithm for, let's say the cryptographer's algorithm is saying like, okay, we need 30 points, I don't know, of authentication. Like it has to match 30 key points when it's scanning your eye, right? I don't even know if 30 is a high number or a low number, but whatever. Maybe I'll get my cousin to come and break this stuff down to us a little bit more. But so now they have their algorithm, but now they have to implement this algorithm into the hardware and the software that's going to be scanning the eye. So they have to work with the hardware people, they have to work with the software people, all of that good stuff, right? So that is another part that's another part of their core responsibilities. So what common industries do we find these cryptographers and these cryptologists in? So we have finance, and we're going to break down each of these, right? We have finance, government, technology, and healthcare, right? So, I mean, and there's probably a way more as well, but these are the top common industries because these are the foundations of our society: the banking sector, finance, the government, unfortunately, right? Technology, of course, and then healthcare, another major pillar of our society. So let's find out about finance. So how does cryptology play a role in finance? So cryptologists and cryptographers, they encrypt transactions. So they design systems to encrypt financial transactions, ensuring data like credit card details and account information is securely transferred. They protect systems such as they safeguard online banking platforms, payment systems, and customer data from cyber threats by implementing strong encryption protocols. So if you ever logged into Chase or Bank of America and they're saying, okay, we haven't noticed that you have logged in from this computer before or from this location before. So that right there is a algorithm that's looking at different data points and say, okay, has this person ever has this person or this not this person but this computer that's trying to access our network, are we aware of it? Do we have it saved in our system based on the where the account holder is based? Like, let's say the account holder is based in Raleigh, North Carolina, but now they're getting a login from Los Angeles, California. It's like, all right, hold on. It's possible that this person went on a trip to California. However, let's make sure. Or let's say the person is from Raleigh, North Carolina, but 2 minutes ago, they just made a transaction at the local gas station, at the local Chevron. But then 2 minutes later, they have a charge at Costco in California. And it's like, what's going on here? So now so all of these things are checking the system and checking all the algorithms that are put in place to make sure that the person who's trying to log in or the person who's making the transaction is who they say they are. So it can raise red flags. All right, this doesn't seem right. So all of those are being put into place to protect the system, to protect the company, to protect the user, to protect the client, all of that, right? So they also develop cryptographic algorithms. They create and refine algorithms to secure processes such as digital signatures, tokenization, and blockchain applications. So when you think about cryptocurrencies, when you're thinking about tokens for access, when you think about digital signatures, like all those things, everything that rolls around authentication is a form of cryptography, right? Now, you can have really, really weak forms of authentication and cryptography, such as, let's say you're using a basic auth. But like the other day on a live stream, we were implementing some very basic authentication for our Urban Dictionary of Economic Data. And that is very, very weak authentication, but nonetheless, it's still cryptography, right? To a very, very basic extent. There's no crazy algorithm or data points. But if you think about it on the other side, right? If you're using a fingerprint scanner to unlock your phone, or you're using a face scanner to unlock your phone, God forbid you get beat up pretty badly and then you can't unlock your phone, but there's still, you can put in a manual password. But that is a form of cryptography. And although it might be at a lower sense, like, getting into your phone is not protecting, high, financial data. But think about it like this. When we see a crime that happens and now the FBI or the CIA or the NSA or any other, even the IRS, maybe, God forbid, and they can't get into the person's phone, that is a form of cryptography that is being placed on the phone, whether it's through a third-party app, whether it's through the manufacturer of the device, or maybe the person created their own algorithm to protect their devices as well. So even logging into when you had to log into your laptop or your iPad or your tablet, that is a form of cryptography as well, and although this one is focusing particularly on finance, we see it all over the place. Let's continue. How does cryptography work in the government? So secure communications, like I was mentioning, when, Jack Bauer would ask, are we on a secure line? They encrypt sensitive messages and data to ensure that classified information can only be accessed by authorized personnel. National security, cryptographers work to protect critical infrastructure, military communications, and intelligence from cyber attacks and espionage. And then code breaking and analysis, they analyze and break codes to used by adversaries to gather intelligence and identify potential threats. So not only are the cryptographers and the cryptologists that they are building these things or protecting the infrastructure, they're also pretty savvy hackers as well. So they analyze and break codes used by our enemies or adversaries, and then they use that to do recon intelligence and see what risks are out there for us. Okay. Now, next up, technology. How do cryptographers use, like, what is their role in technology? So they protect user data. They design encryption systems to safeguard personal information such as passwords, messages, and browsing history across apps and devices. So that goes more to what I was saying about the different like, logging into your phone using face rec, using fingerprint recognition. Even like if you're on an Android and you have to put in that little design, that's all of that. Every type of authentication is cryptography. Now, when let's say you're logging into, see, now I'm going to use a financial example on the technology when I use the technology example on the finance part, right? But let's say you're logging into your Charles Schwab account or a what is the other one? A Fidelity or Stash, Acorns, whatever. Not only do they have the password as the first line of defense, the username and password, but then they also might have you do a two-factor authentication where they send you a text message and then you have to enter a code, or sometimes they send you enter your email address and they send you an email code, and it's like some platforms you don't even have to enter your password anymore. They'll send you a code in order to be able to log in successfully. I was mentioning with Chase earlier, where if it says, oh, this is an unknown device that you're logging in from, we need to authenticate, or another way that they do it is like if you ever use like one of these online, banking, not banking, but like budgeting, where they connect to your account through a company named Plaid, I think it's called, and it says, okay. So now, like if you have an account with Chase and you say, okay, I want to log in with Chase, it says, okay, now after you put in your username and password successfully, you need to authenticate that you're trying to make this connection through the Chase app, right? So many different ways that this cryptography comes into place. And I don't know how much of the ideas that the cryptographers come up with, if it's like someone else comes with the ideas and then they implement the algorithms. I don't know, right? I really want to talk to my cousin about this to figure out some more details on this, right? But really, really cool stuff, really, really important stuff, right? So they also secure software and hardware, like I was mentioning with the devices. Cryptographers help build secure operating systems, cloud storage solutions, and devices by implementing strong cryptographic protocols. So if you think about it, like when we're logging into Google Cloud Platform, when we're logging into AWS, into Microsoft Azure, and like, so for instance, when logging into, and there's multiple ways of doing this with AWS, but they'll say, all right, use the authentication app, which is a Google app, right? Where it's recycling a code every minute. And a lot of different platforms use the Google Authenticator app, right? And I've actually used this app since maybe like 12 years now, because I was working at a company where we had to access certain parts of AWS servers, and I had to set up the authentication app, and I had no idea what I was doing at the time. But now it makes perfect sense to me, because I use it across so many different different platforms now, right? Like even GitHub is using it. So it's and all of this stuff, all these algorithms, all these methods, they're like identity access management. The methodology behind that is all based on cryptography, right? So they also enable emerging tech. They work on cutting edge technologies like blockchain, securing decentralized systems, and enabling innovation like cryptocurrencies and smart contracts. I mean, if we see what Bitcoin has been doing for the past couple of weeks now, started at the bottom and now we here. I remember back in the days when I was trying to, well, I won't even tell you what I was trying to do, but they were like, we're only going to take payments in Bitcoin. And now I can't even imagine how much money that they make now, how much money that they have now. But we see how Bitcoin has skyrocketed over the past few weeks. And now I'm not the most familiar on crypto technology and all of that type of stuff, but I can say that you can see how they talk about your digital wallet and stuff like that. And if you don't have a physical crypto wallet, and if you don't have it physically, then it doesn't really mean much. But all of that type of stuff, it's based on cryptography. So you would be surprised how much cryptography plays a role in the world, right? But with that being said, it is not the most easiest field to get into, and we'll get into that as we carry on. But let's get into the last industry that is common amongst cryptography, and that's healthcare. So, how do cryptographers and cryptologists play a major role in the healthcare sector, right? So, securing patient data. They encrypt electronic health records, EHRs, to protect sensitive information like medical histories, diagnoses, and treatments from unauthorized access. So if you think about HIPAA laws and all that type of stuff, right? Compliance and things, being able to secure your systems from people stealing that data, cryptographers, they are the MVPs of that, right? They protect communication. Cryptographers ensure secure communications between healthcare providers, patients, and insurance companies through encrypted messages and data sharing. So if your healthcare provider has a portal, right, and you can log into there, no one else should be able to see your data who's not authorized to see it. And sometimes they send you these secure messages where they say, okay, you have an appointment here. Oh, these are your test results. That has to be protected, because if that data gets out, then there's going to be like major consequences and repercussions. Okay. The same way when you log into your insurance provider, same thing, right? They also enable secure research and innovation. They safeguard the data used in medical research, drug development, and telemedicine platforms, ensuring privacy and integrity. So telehealth is a major thing nowadays where I'll tell you this story, right? I had to go get an appointment I was trying to get an appointment to see a dermatologist like last year, right? And they said, all right, the next appointment is going to be months away. And I said, I don't even know what this problem is. So I said, you know what? I do have the telehealth option. So I went into the telehealth thing, and I took, it says, all right, so tell us whatever the problem is and take some pictures and upload it. Within about 10 minutes, a doctor responded to me telling me exactly what the problem was. Now, being what it was, he said, well, there's nothing, like, you still need to go see an actual person, actual dermatologist, but if I didn't get it from them, I wouldn't have known until a month or two later what the actual thing was. But they were to tell, oh yeah, boom, this is what it is. It's very simple to treat. We just can't prescribe it online. You need to have it administered by a doctor or whatever, right? And that was that. But it's just like the way that like, and I don't know how the payment structure works for that, but it was really, really quick to get an answer, and it's very, very secure, So to think all the things that we use, there are so many unsung heroes behind it, and you have these cryptographers and these cryptologists who are making it like, keeping the data secure and safe in the background, while we enjoy the luxury of just logging in. And, if a doctor wants to jump on a call, they can just jump on a call with us through these platforms, or they can just look at the picture. Oh yeah, this is exactly what it is. And boom, you're good from there. Right. So really, really cool how all these things are working behind the scenes. So what are the required skills and qualifications to actually become a cryptographer or a cryptologist, right? So we're going to go through the educational background, the key skills that you need, and then some recommended certifications that you might need to be able to get in this role. And I'm pretty sure for a role like this, you might need a lot of education and a lot of, and some very, some really good certifications for this, all right? So let's find out. So for education, you'll need, I'm going to say this, right? You're not going to just be able to do a boot camp to become a cryptographer. And now I know, half the people who are watching this video, they might say, you know what, this is not for me. You know what, maybe even 85% of the people watching the video are like, you know what, if I have to go to school to get a degree in computer science, mathematics, cybersecurity, or related field, this might not be for me. But you will be turning your back on a very, very lucrative field as we get into the salary expectations in a little bit. And not only that, right? I'll touch more on this, right? But when you see that advanced degrees, a master's or a PhD may be preferred for higher level roles, you got to think about how, with the knowledge that you have, if you develop your own proprietary algorithm that you can sell to whoever or license to different companies, you can just forget about a quote unquote a salary, because now you're getting licensing fees forever. So your 150K, 250K, 300K salary, that goes out the door, because now you're looking at the millions, maybe even billions and billions of dollars based on licensing fees. So a lot of times, people, they would just want it fast. But now, and it's like, well, if I have to go to school, get a computer science, math, cybersecurity, and then I have to get a master's or a PhD, ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. But you will be throwing away an opportunity to not only have to have a serious degree, not one of those degrees not one of those throwaway degrees that you pay $200,000 for, but you have a serious degree. And now you can take that knowledge that you learn and build your own encryption algorithms, or, biometrics type stuff. And I'll touch on that a little bit more, right? Let's continue. So what are the key skills that you need if you are interested in becoming a cryptographer or cryptologist, right? So you need strong, and when I say strong, I mean very, very strong mathematical foundation, numbers theory, algebra, discrete mathematics. All right, I might have lost everybody at this point. I'm just hopefully not, right? But you really got and I'll say this, my cousin that I was talking to you about, right? She was in school for I forgot the exact major, but she was she was trying to get a master, or I think she did get a master's in mathematics, I believe it was, right? But she was taking like these crazy math classes, like discrete math and, upside down math, who knows, right? But it was these crazy math classes, which leads us into proficiency in programming languages, because part of her, I guess, her master's thesis or dissertation, whatever the master's people, like their project that they have to do, is that she created an algorithm for some type of triangulation type stuff, and but her coding knowledge was not the strongest, so she was learning Python to do her algorithm, and that's how I got exposed to Python for the first time, because while I had a pretty decent and strong background in Java, I never really worked in Python, but I was able to take the knowledge that I had from Java and apply it to Python, and how to structure your code, how to test it and everything like that. So I was able to work with her to build out her algorithm that she created from her strong mathematical background into write into Python in order. And I'm telling you this, right? The things that I saw from what we did was absolutely amazing. Where using like tools like NumPy, Pandas, some other libraries that I don't even remember, but it was doing like triangulation type stuff. And she would run the algorithm, and this thing took, and she was crazy for running it on a MacBook Air, right? But it took so many resources, and it would bring up these crazy graphs that were spinning, and it was just, I can't even like explain how crazy it was. But the fact that like her mathematical background, and her very, very limited Python experience, and me being in the software development industry for a long time, writing so many automation tests in Java, being able to come together and say, all right, you know what, the way that we're going to build this application of yours, we're going to use test-driven development, because I know testing. You know the math stuff. I know the Java side of the coding. I know object-oriented programming. We're going to use test-driven development to be able to build out our Python, your algorithm in Python, and it was an amazing success, right? And then another key skill is understanding the encryption protocols and security standards that are used, right? So being well versed in the industry, knowing like what are new things coming out, what are security standards, like you have to know that. Like there's no way around it. Okay. So what are some recommended certifications that a cryptographer would need, right? So we have the Certified Information System Security Professional, CISSP, and I've heard about the CISSP from different people in cybersecurity who they say like this is a very important one to get, but for somebody in cryptography, this is like essential, right? Certified Encryption Specialist, CES certificate goes without saying, and the GIAC Certified Forensic Analyst, GCFA. I mean, these are see, and this is the thing that drives me crazy about tech and the software development industry. The type of jobs that are going to pay you crazy money and are very, very sophisticated. We don't hear that much about these certifications, but me being in QA, I always hear about this stupid ISTQB all the time, right? Or ASTQB for America and all this nonsense. And I'm like, nobody really cares about that. But for a role like this, for a cryptographer, I've never heard of people talking about in cybersecurity the role of cryptography. But this role is, I don't think there's many people. I think this is an untapped market. But the reason I think it's untapped is because of the amount of work and dedication that it's going to take for you to actually land this job. But when you land it, you are going to be a superstar. You might be an unknown, unsung superstar, but you will be a superstar because you are going to be a hero of the world, right? So how to get started in cryptography. We're going to talk about some starting pathways, how to build a portfolio, and what specialized skills you might need to be able to do that. So getting started. Well, I mean, you're going to want to find relevant internships or entry-level roles in cybersecurity. I'll reference back to my cousin. She was working with a professor when she was working on her master thesis project. As you progress, then you're going to want to get some internships into the different companies, into like the cybersecurity fields, or work as an intern with a team that is doing the encryption and stuff like that. You also want to look for positions in network security, software development, or data science to be stepping stones. Data science, really, really important. Software development. And here's the thing. What I always tell people is you want to be able to get into the job, right? Get into the field. So whether let's say your goal is to become a cryptographer, and you graduate from college and you have a master's or a PhD, and you're like, you try to go apply for the first cryptography job, and you're like, well, you don't have enough experience. Well, maybe you need to start in cybersecurity, a basic cybersecurity role, and continue to work on projects, work on your own algorithms, so that you can have something to show. Okay, which leads us to building a portfolio, participating in open source cryptographic projects. Right. A lot of times we complete something and then now we're like, oh, I'm done now. No, you're not done. You're not done. Okay. You need to participate with other people, see what they're working on. How can you contribute so that you can have something to show? Right. And especially for something like cryptography, this in my mind, if I'm interviewing somebody for a role and I'm like, okay, so you worked in network security, you worked doing this, and then you tell me, oh, but I'm also doing this. Oh, tell me more about it. So I've written this algorithm where it is doing A, B, and C, and it's looking at this, it's looking at these data points, it's doing this type of triangulation and all this type of stuff. I'm like, wow, I need you on my team. I need you on my team. Right? And then the second one, which goes to exactly what I was saying, contributing to or creating cryptographic algorithms. Boom, right? You got to do something. At the end of the day, like, portfolios are only as good as what you have actually done. So if you go and you take a boot camp and you say, oh, I created a to-do list as part of my portfolio. Most of the quote unquote portfolios that they have you create in these boot camps, whether it's a web development boot camp, a QA boot camp, a cybersecurity boot camp, they mean absolutely nothing. So when they tell you, like even a Udemy course, they say, oh, we'll have you create a boot camp. We'll have you create a portfolio. And now you show up to an interview and says, well, this is my Udemy portfolio that everybody else did. I'm like, why are you showing me this? But if your portfolio is like, if I'm going to give you a quick example, right? Sorry to detour real quick, right? But this is important when building a portfolio. If you are building a portfolio that has, well, I built this portfolio and I built this application as part of my portfolio. I built this application as part of my portfolio and it's live and it has this many users. I'm like, wow, you actually did something valuable. So if we take it back to cryptography, well, in my portfolio, I created this algorithm. So let's say you do this, right? Let's say you have a knack for cryptography. You went to school for it and all that type of stuff, right? And then you say, you know what, but I'm also going to take a software development bootcamp where I am going to create, learn how to create APIs, learn how to create web pages, maybe using React, maybe using Angular, maybe using Vue.js like we spoke about a few weeks ago. And now I want users to be able to log in. So instead of just doing a basic login, I am going to implement my cryptographic algorithm that I created based on my mathematical knowledge and skills. And I'm going to implement that on the website, right? So now we're in an interview and he says, oh yeah, so I created this application where it does A, B, and C, and D. However, I also implemented my own algorithm that it cannot be penetrated by anybody. You need to have this, and that in order to, and it has to work in this exact way in order for you to be able to grant access. And it is always going to be unique. And you just, you create, like you find a way to implement your algorithm, or you team up with another, like let's say you're not the most savvy software developer, right? But you team up with someone who is a software developer. And he said, all right, I created this algorithm. I want you to implement it on this application. And then now we can go and market that. Boom. You see, and this is the creativity that I'm always talking to you about. Okay. It's not just, I took this, I did this. How are you going to put it to use? Why should I care about it? Right. So things to consider. Let's continue. So what type of specialized skills should you be developing? Right. So how do you develop it too? So, you want to go into look into online courses and self-study as well. So in addition to your education, to your portfolio, you always have to stay up to date, looking into what's new coming out there, finding some cryptography courses. By taking an online course for cryptography in Coursera, EDX, Udemy, or Bootcamp, it is not going to be enough, right? Do not come. It is not going to be enough. It is going to be helpful, but it's not going to be enough. So you definitely need the full package. You need the education, you need the portfolio, and you need to continue developing your specialized skills. All right. Take a Python course, take a Java course, C++ course, find things that are going to be actually useful. And then I'm going to throw this in there as well, right? Make presentations about what you've built. Showcase your education, your portfolio, and the skills that you built on top of that, so that people can see, okay, this person is actually serious, all right? So how do you, and this is the toughest part that you're going to run into. How do you gain practical experience? I think the very, very first one is you're going to have to practice with cryptographic tools. Some tools are GNU-PG, OpenSSL. Participate in Capture the Flag, CTF competitions with cryptography challenges, or with cryptography. My goodness, with cryptography challenges. All right. So participate in Capture the Flag, CTF competitions with cryptography challenges. Join online communities and discussion groups focused on cryptography. One place you can go to, Reddit. Find the cryptography group, subreddit, talk, ask questions, debate ideas. Here's another one for you. Here's another one for you, right? Maybe create a Facebook group where you're talking about this type of stuff. Or you spin up a YouTube channel, start a live stream. You know, maybe you bring people up to talk about cryptography. Maybe you talk about it in the chat. Who knows? Or you present on it and you have people in the chat talking about it, right? Where they're like, just create the environment and people will come. And then pursuing researching opportunities or publishing papers on cryptographic topics if academically inclined. You know, that's how you're going to gain experience. That's how you're going to be putting yourself out there to garner back attention into what you're trying to do. Now, the moment we've all been waiting for, right? Salary expectations. What is the average salary range for a cryptographer or a cryptographist or cryptologist, right? We should say, so in general, between 90K to 150K, depending on your experience, your location, and your industry. Senior cryptographers and cryptographic researchers can earn upward of 200,000 annually in high demand regions or industries, right? So remember, I said that while you have the salary, if you're working for, a company, and it honestly, it can probably be a lot more than this as well, right? However, if you create an algorithm outside of a company on your own time, make sure all the paperwork is good. You know, that like even if you create on your own time, but you're working for them, it doesn't belong to them, right? Make sure you have that. But imagine how much money you can make if you sell that algorithm, if you license out that algorithm, if you create more than one algorithm. So imagine this, right? On Android phones, so most Android phones, you can log in via. They have like 5 different authentication methods, right? You have the facial rec, fingerprint. You have where you put a code in, you put in a PIN number, you put in a password. That's 5 right there, and there might be even more than that. That is like if you create, those are 5 different algorithms that can be used, right? So you got to think about it like that. So if you create your own, imagine the person who created the eye scanner, the retina scanner for authentication. You know, if you ever watch the movie, not the movie, but the TV show NCIS, when they'll be going to that secure room and they have to scan their eyes. You know, there was a cryptographer who created that. So consider that. So now we get to the good parts and the bad parts. What are the pros of cryptography? So there's high demand for expertise in secure communications and data privacy. You have the opportunities to work on advanced technology and make meaningful contributions to cybersecurity. So you'll go down in history, right? It also has a competitive salary with room for advancement and specialization. And like I said, you can create your own stuff as well, and you can kill it out there. You know? Now we get to the cons. What is the not so good parts of cryptography? It requires extensive knowledge of advanced mathematics and complex algorithms. And that's why I said earlier, I probably lost most of the people watching this video at this point. You might finish watching it, but you're like, you know what, cryptography is probably not for me. But I say don't run away. Run towards it, all right? Potentially long hours and intense problem-solving requirements. And I'll tell you this. When I was working with my cousin trying to code this algorithm of hers, we were up till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, many nights, trying to get this thing to work. You know, eventually we did, but it was very, very long nights, but very, very rewarding though. I mean, for me personally, you might think it's a con for long hours and intense problem solving requirements, but I say don't threaten me with a good time. I'm going to move that over to the pro side. And then it's also a rapidly evolving field requiring continuous learning to stay up to date with new cryptographic methods, right? So for me also, that's also a pro, you know, but I'm just crazy that way. I'm just built different that way, right? To me, what we have as a con here are actually pros for me because it sounds like fun. Don't threaten me with a good time. All right. So that's it. let's wrap it up with our conclusion. We went through our introduction to cryptography. Hopefully that this served you well. We spoke about what roles of a cryptographer and a cryptologist. We spoke about the required skills and qualifications, how to get into cryptography, how to gain practical experience, what are your expected salary ranges, the pros and cons of cryptography. And with that being said, if you have any questions, if you think I missed anything, if you want me to go into deeper on anything else, please let me know. Drop me a comment, and I will be sure to get back to you, maybe either through a follow-up video answering your comment, maybe making a video at techcoachrob.dev, whatever the case may be. You let me know, and we can go deeper into it, right? But with that being said, we're going to go back to full screen. So thank you guys for tuning in to this presentation on cryptography. Hopefully you are way more informed than you were before watching this video. I had a great time making this presentation. As I'm going through this, I'm learning a lot. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this. I remember that. Oh, I actually experienced it this way. And seeing me come up with these examples in real time, because I'll tell you this, I'll create the presentation like very loosely, and then as I'm presenting it, I'm getting all these different ideas, and I'm just sharing it with you on the spot. So that's why it might seem a little chopped up sometimes as I'm thinking, because I want it to be raw. I want it to be authentic and not just create like this very cookie cutter. Because I'm not trying to sell you on cryptography. I'm trying to explore cryptography and all these other things with you, right? Because it's a learning experience for me as well. If I wasn't here presenting it to you, then I wouldn't be learning it. So it's just as much as a learning experience for you as it is for me, and for me as it is for you. All right. So we were in this together. Hopefully you found this valuable. Hopefully you found it insightful. And if you did, that's why I asked you to do me a big favor. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know every time that we go live and drop new content, as well as go to techcoachrob.dev where you can get way more valuable information that you'll find anywhere else on the internet. I talk about how to use Glassdoor, how to use LinkedIn, how to use AI effectively, not for nonsense, as we review on this channel from time to time. How to update your resume effectively, how to prepare for interviews, and definitely it's so important how to prepare for interviews, right? We go into that. And then I also upload the Scrum nights that I have with my tech barbarians. I upload the sprint reviews that I have with my tech barbarians. And then I also offer opportunities to work with me one-on-one if you need one-on-one coaching. Whether you're into QA, web development, cloud engineering, cybersecurity, whatever the case may be, right? I have a plan and a solution for you. So join me over on techcoachrob.dev. You can sign up for free. And then if you want to work with me, you can upgrade later on. But that is my request of you after this 40-ish, 50-ish minutes of presenting on cryptography. Just do me one little favor, is check out techcoachrob.dev, sign up for free, and then you can upgrade later on if you desire to do so, all right? With that being said, we're going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful rest of your week. I will see you on the next live stream. This is Tech Coach Ralph with another episode of Software Explorations. Concept and overviews. We just reviewed cryptography. You guys have a wonderful week. We are out.
Back from the streets, now I'm coding all night. They look at me like a fool, it don't feel right. Boot camps try to shackle, but I broke every chain. Got my eyes on the prize, ain't no stopping my reign. Used to run blocks, now I'm running these scripts. Look at them sweat, while my hustle just grips. No room for cowards in this digital climb. I'm the king of this jungle, it's my coding time. King of the code, I wear the crown. Gonna run this game, run them all down. From the concrete to the tech throne, I'll dominate this world, gonna make it my own. Show them who's boss from zero to hero. Turn every line to gold, they ain't keeping it real though. I elevate the game while they stuck in a glitch. Watch me rise to the top, counting every pitch. Crack the code like I cracked the streets. From back alleys to Silicon Elite. You thought you knew, but you don't know yet. I'll bring the heat, ain't seen nothing yet. King of the code, I wear the crown. Gonna run this game, run them all down. From the concrete to the tech throne, I'll dominate this world, gonna make it my own. King of the code, I wear the crown. Gonna run this game, run 'em all down. From the concrete to the tech throne, I'll dominate this world, gonna make it my own. Show them who's boss from zero to hero. Turn every line to gold, they ain't keeping it real though. I'll elevate the game while they stuck in a glitch. Watch me rise to the top, counting every pitch. Crack code like I crack the streets. From back alleys to Silicon Elite. You thought you knew, but you don't know yet. I'll bring the heat, ain't seen nothing yet. King of the code, I wear the crown.